From Lausanne and DPFL, but we are much older, and we are there since 76, and there is a large group of 200 people working on computer science, information systems, and linguistics, informatics, linguistics, and we strive to be interdisciplinary and to reach out to our colleagues in psychology, in humanities, and so on. So, but here I'm here today to discuss the Geofab or Geofab project. So, as you can see, let's see if, yeah. As you can see, it's an Interreg supported project. So, Interreg France and Switzerland, and it started last spring in 2017. So, what is Geofab about? Okay, there was supposed to be a video. You can find it on the web. Actually, I have some flyers I put there, so you can have a look at the website. Okay, so we skip the video, but basically the project, the Geofab, came from the awareness from people who produce geoinformation data. So in Geneva, in Canton Vaud, in France, that there is a lot of this geographic information data available on the numeric version, digitalized version. It's even open data, and it's underutilized. So basically, there are a lot of professional people like Swiss Topo and so on that produce this data, and this data has a cost, of course, and there are so much data, and it's not used. And so here, the idea of the project, and it was inspired by some similar project in France, the idea is to promote the use of this data and to help people use this data. And because we are in Geneva and we requested the help of Interreg France, Switzerland, we are trying to promote the use of this data for what we call in Geneva le Grand Genève, the big Geneva, which is Geneva, a bit of Canton Vaud, and the French border. So basically, that's kind of what you have here. So we want to develop the use of this geographic data across the Geneva border, France and Switzerland, and we want also collaboration among the experts that provide this data. And basically, the whole project is about supporting and providing expertise to those who want to use this data, but it's true that there is a little bit of difficulty in using this data when you are not an expert. And so the whole point in the end is try to make added value, support startups, SMEs, and so on. So what is the data about? So it can be any data, but basically what we are trying to promote is, this is SITG, which means, if we translate it, is the information system of the Geneva territory. So this, here you have 876 types of different data, and here I just put a little bit of them. So it's environment, transport, energy, urbanism, planning, but it's much more than that. So I have a series of other slides if you are interested on this. And basically, there are a lot of, it's a group of people that gather together and provide this data. And now most of it, not the 876 data are available open data, but 70% of the data is available open data and can be used through a web service. We joined forces with Canton Vaud. So this is the similar effort here, but from Canton Vaud. So it's a maybe different type of data, but basically you have some examples here. And we have the national ones, so Swiss Topo data also. And this was where we took inspiration from, so they are also part of the project. IGN, which means Institute of Geography, National Forest, something in France. And so basically it's the equivalent of Swiss Topo for France. And so they have a lot of data also for the border across Geneva. And they have also run this type of project on their side in France. So basically the way it works is that we have 2 calls for projects per year. And so first we launch a call, and then on a certain topic, I will show you just after on the topics and the projects. And then there is a jury of experts that gathers together to look at this project and to say, okay, this is not using enough geodata, this is maybe not going to work, and so on and so forth. And so in this jury of experts, I heard before that we have people from Esri in the room. So we had someone from Esri also in 1 or 2 of these juries, because Esri makes also the tools for the SCTG, the Geneva data. So we have this jury of experts with a certain number of people, also people from incubators. So they could say, okay, these guys, they have a business plan, but maybe this is not so good, or maybe it's okay, but they need help with the business plan. And then for those that we select, we give them 5 to 20 days of expert support. So this expert support can range from geodata help, but also frequently it's about legal aspects, sometimes for GDPR, but it's also a business plan, fundraising, and so on. So it can be anything that they need. The idea is that they get our help. And there is a kind of constraints that we want not to have, like we academic could do some blue sky project with data, but a project that leads to a service that can create jobs somehow. That's the reason also why it was supported by Canton Geneva, Canton Vaud, Interreg, and so on. And as you will see in a minute, we are targeting diverse application domains. So who can submit a project? Okay, it just changed. Okay, so any, yeah, it was different on my computer, sorry. So entrepreneur to be, or startup, SMEs, any consortium academics, and it should not necessarily be based initially in the area of Geneva, but there should be an intention from the people, the promoters, to do something there. So for instance, someone here, if you have a nice startup or project service around this area, it's perfect, then but you should say, okay, we can extend our activities around Geneva, look how it could be. So that's the idea. Okay, so what service? So a sustainable service that uses geodata and that possibly could be on both sides of the border and that can succeed. So not all of the projects meet all these requirements, but we are trying. Okay, sorry about this. So then in the end, they receive 5 to 20 days of support, and our goal is to accelerate the business developments. And to increase, so that's an important point, because basically each time we launch a new call or each time we give the prizes, we try to make a publicity around it, and we try to gather some politicians on either side of the border. So it's true that when we have some politicians, we have journalists, and so there is immediately some visibility for the winners. Okay, so for the first call, we didn't want to restrict it, so we only made it general. And because it was the first time, we gave kind of 5 and not 3 winners. Okay, we don't see it very well. Okay, no worries. But I will have them here. So the first one that got the prize was this Tag My Food project. So here the idea is that when you eat something or when you go in a shop to buy something, you don't know really where it comes from. So the idea of these guys is that they want to tag the food. But it's a let's say a venture between also the producers and the shops that sell the food, or the restaurant that bought the food to these producers. And so then they have a whole application where you can retrieve exactly where the fish comes from, or where the vegetable comes from, and you have the maps and everything and all the details. So that's the way it works. The second one was this one, was nice. It's a little drone, so it's a boat drone, and the idea was to map the borders of the lake, not inside the lake, but on the borders where the maps are not too good. And so they are using this to really, with some specific radar or something, to keep the notion of the bottom. And I look now, since they got the prize, they also have flying robots, and they produce 3D views of what the robot, the drone, is capturing as a data. And so the next one, this one is Hello Ways, so nature walks and hiking trails. So the idea here is, so we don't see too much, but this is Paris, and if you type Paris, you get a series of walking trails, and with the information of the length, 1 hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes. And so you can choose, and so you say, okay, I want to do some 1 hour walk, so then you choose this one, and you go walking, and you have everything described for you with some details that you find around. And then the last one, Whimper, so that's interesting. So this is focusing on a specialized type of people, those who really do hiking, but in the mountains. And so they provide a kind of offline map, because when you are in the mountain, you don't have the map. And also, I don't see if we see it very well, a 3D view, so you can also visualize the mountains 3D. You can see where you are, where you want to go. The last one, I do not have pictures because kind of they dropped out, but they got the prize. The idea was interesting. It was multimodal mobility, so combining train, bike, taxi, and so on to go from one place to another. But at the end, as we see, it's for startups and so on. They didn't pursue it. The second call was sustainable development and ecological transition. And so here we got three winners, and actually the first one just also raised 1 million euros, not from us, but he also raised 1 million euros, and it's really interesting. It's the concept is that you want to change, or you want to move to some place to live, but you don't know where exactly you should go. You have an idea, but you don't know exactly. So you can enter some of your criteria. For instance, you have kids, or you have a pet, or you want to have some facility nearby, and so on. So they use all the geodata that is in the area to help you find the best place where to live. So I think that's one of the projects that uses the best, or let's say that exploits at a maximum the data of the different types of data available in this geodata information. So that's one. Then we have this one. This is different. It's also on the lake, but the idea is to provide specific data for nautism. So in the sense that you can find information about the port, where you can put your boat, or where you can go, and from there how you can continue. So it's specialized for people who do boat activities. And the last one, co-working, go working. So it's an app to match individual needs with places of co-working, and also linked with the traffic. Maybe this morning you want to do co-working in co-working spaces, but maybe this morning it's better if you stay here because there is an accident there, so maybe you don't need to go where you go usually. And it's also a mix between rewarding the users with a network and so on. So it's a kind of application on this point. And the third call is mobility, urbanism, security, and health. We just gave the prizes 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the first one is interesting because it's one of the few that targets other businesses or professionals. So here the idea is that the VLab, it's augmented reality for excavation works. So the point here is to say that before we go and make a hole in the street blindly, it's better to, with some virtual reality equipment, to see before what's behind the floor or the street, because this causes a lot of issues. People make holes and then they break gas pipes or electricity stuff. So it's known to be a problem. So they target this type of professionals. And this one is some activity, it's a service for people who have an handicapped situation, so of any kind. Could be psychological, could be motor, could be blind, could be anything. And so you can kind of tick what is the, let's say, the issue, and then you can find an outdoor activity that you can do when you have this impairment. So that's a nice point. And the last one, so the picture is not very fancy, but the ladies here are two women that got this, it's called La Charrette. So I don't know how it's in English. So basically it's the BlaBlaCar of food producers. So the idea is that instead of, if I am a producer and I'm going to, I don't know, deliver my salads, and here is another producer going also to deliver his carrots, maybe we can deliver together in one single car. He can give me his carrots, and then I deliver carrots and salad somewhere. So basically it's to find joint matching itineraries for local food products. So it's in the sense of sustainability and so on. And so it's nice, they also got other prizes, so it's progressing. Now we just opened the fourth course, so it's in French. I put the little flyer there. So basically here the theme is tourism and leisure. And so anything that has to do with this, so food, sports, gaming, culture, patrimony, anything that has to do with this can be submitted, and there is not a date, but it's, I think, yes, there is, the 6th of January. So if you are interested, please submit. And everything is on the website also that is here. So I think, yeah, this is the last slide. So as I said, it is supported by Interreg First, but also in a great part by Canton Geneva, Canton Vaud, and the two, let's say, leaders of the project are the University of Geneva, with myself, and le pôle genevois du métropolitain français, which is the French counterpart, and they promote economical development. So basically that's all the others are all our partners from the data, from l'affaire, okay, all sorts of Esri, and all sorts of partners. And I think that's it. Yeah.